Makes sense. Back in the shadows, a vending machine hummed. Inside it, the agent crouched, breathing heavily. He pressed a button. Cheesy crackle pop, please. It vended a VHS tape labeled How to Find the Janitor in 14 Difficult Steps. He wept. And thus, the agent remained, always close, always one room behind, frequently mistaken for his own doppelganger, and perpetually confused by the janitor's ability to vanish into the ductwork at will. But one day, perhaps in a finale or a particularly strange holiday episode, he would find him.
The alarm started as a soft beep. Then it became louder. Then it became a screaming wail that made Senior Monitor Vexala jump from her chair. She had been watching the sensor screens for 12 hours straight. Nothing ever happened at Sentinel-7. The monitoring station floated at the edge of explored space where the Caltheron Empire's territory ended and the empty void began. For 20 years, Vexala had sat in this chair, watching dots on screens that represented asteroids, comets, and the occasional piece of space debris. Nothing interesting. Nothing dangerous. Nothing unknown. Until now. Her six-fingered hands moved across the control panel, trying to silence the alarm. The screen in front of her showed something that should not exist. A contact, a vessel, moving faster than anything she had ever seen. "Computer, run diagnostic," she said, her voice steady despite the fear creeping up her spine. The computer's calm voice responded, "All systems functioning normally. No errors detected." Vexala's throat went dry. She ran the scan again. The contact was still there, still moving, still impossible. She checked the speed reading 3 times. The vessel was traveling at 0.97 light speed. Nothing in the known galaxy could move that fast. The Empire's fastest military ships could barely reach 0.4 light speed. And that was with experimental engines that tended to explode. But speed was not the strangest part. The contact had no signature. Every vessel in the galaxy left traces. Energy emissions from engines, heat from life support systems, electromagnetic signals from navigation equipment. Every spacefaring civilization in the Empire's database had a unique fingerprint that sensors could detect and identify. This vessel had nothing. No energy type matched the Imperial databases. No heat signature matched any known propulsion system. No signals on any frequency they monitored. It was like the ship was made of ghost matter, barely existing in normal space. Vexala opened the communication channel. Sentinel-7 to unknown vessel. "You are entering Caltheron Empire space. Identify yourself immediately." Silence. She tried again, broadcasting on all frequencies. "Unknown vessel, this is Sentinel-7 monitoring station. Please respond and transmit your identification codes." Still nothing. Her hands trembled as she reached for the emergency communication button. She had never used it before. In 20 years, there had never been an emergency worth reporting to Imperial Command. "This is Sentinel-7, she said when the channel opened. "I need to speak with someone in Fleet Command immediately." The face that appeared on her screen belonged to a young officer who looked bored. "Sentinel-7, this channel is for actual emergencies only. If you have a maintenance issue, I have detected an unknown vessel," Vexala interrupted. "It is traveling at near light speed with no identifiable signature and is not responding to hails." The officer's bored expression changed to something like amusement. "Senior Monitor, your sensors are probably malfunctioning. Run a full diagnostic and—" "I already ran diagnostics twice," Vexala said, her patience wearing thin. "All systems are functioning normally. The contact is real." The officer sighed. "Fine, send me your sensor data and I will have someone look at it." Vexala transmitted the data and waited. She watched the contact on her screen. It had not changed course. It had not slowed down. It was heading directly toward the Empire's core worlds like an arrow flying toward a target. 10 minutes later, her communication panel lit up again. This time, the face on the screen belonged to someone much more senior. Commander Zeltok, if she remembered correctly. He did not look amused. "Sentinel-7, we need you to confirm your readings," he said. "2 other monitoring stations are now reporting the same contact." Vexala felt her stomach drop. 2 others? Which ones? Sentinel-4 and Sentinel-9. "The object is moving through our sensor network at incredible speed. We are tracking it on multiple stations now." "Then you believe me," Vexala said. "We believe something is out there," Commander Zeltok replied, "but we do not know what it is." Keep monitoring and report any changes immediately. The communication ended. Vexala turned back to her screens and began recording everything. If this was going to be a historical moment, she wanted accurate records. 3 hours later, the situation had escalated beyond anything Vexala could have imagined. Fleet Admiral Theron himself was now involved. His image appeared on screens across the monitoring network, addressing all stations simultaneously. Vexala had never seen the Admiral before. He was an imposing figure with silver scales covering his face and military decorations covering his uniform. He had commanded fleets in 3 wars and never lost a battle. "All monitoring stations, this is Fleet Admiral Theron," he said. His voice was deep and confident. "We are now tracking an unidentified vessel entering our territory. This vessel has ignored all attempts at communication and shows no signs of slowing down. I am mobilizing the 3rd Border Legion to intercept. All stations maintain constant surveillance and report directly to me with any changes." The transmission ended. Vexala watched her screen and saw new contacts appearing. Imperial warships were launching from nearby military bases. Within an hour, there were dozens of military vessels converging on projected intercept points. She calculated the unknown vessel's trajectory. At its current speed and heading, it would reach the Empire's core worlds in 14 standard cycles. 14 days. For the first time in 10,000 years, something was approaching the heart of the Caltheron Empire without permission, without identification, and without fear. In the Imperial Palace on Caltherox Prime, Chancellor Morn sat in an emergency council meeting. Around the table sat military commanders, intelligence directors, and scientific advisors. Everyone was talking at once. "It must be a probe from an undiscovered civilization," one scientist suggested. "Or a weapon," a military commander countered. "An attack could be imminent. We should destroy it before it gets closer," another commander said. Chancellor Morn raised one hand for silence. The room quieted immediately. "What do we actually know?" Morn asked. The head of Imperial Intelligence stood. "Very little, Chancellor. The object is traveling at near light speed. It has no identifiable energy signature. It does not respond to communication. And most concerning, it is heading directly toward our core worlds on a perfectly straight course." "What does that last part mean?" Morn asked. "It means the vessel knows exactly where it is going," the intelligence director said. "It has not made a single course correction since we first detected it. Either it has incredibly accurate navigation, or it has been to this region of space before." "That is impossible," Fleet Admiral Theron said. "We have catalogued every spacefaring species in this sector for the past 10,000 years. There is nothing we do not know about." "Apparently, Admiral, there is something we do not know about," Morn replied quietly. The Chancellor stood and walked to a large window overlooking the capital city. Billions of beings lived on this world alone, trillions more across the Empire's thousands of planets. They all believed the Empire was invincible. They all believed the Empire knew everything worth knowing about the galaxy. That belief was about to be tested. "Admiral Theron," Morn said without turning around, "deploy your fleet, but do not fire unless fired upon. If this is first contact with a new civilization, I will not have it said that the Caltheron Empire shot first." "And if they are hostile?" Theron asked. "Then defend the Empire," Morn said. "But do not start a war out of fear of the unknown." Back on Sentinel-7, Vexala continued her watch. The unknown vessel maintained its impossible speed and perfect course. It was now less than 13 cycles from the core worlds. She wondered who they were, where they came from, what they wanted. Most of all, she wondered why they were not afraid of the most powerful empire in the known galaxy. The Imperial archives were cold and dusty. Ambassador Kael'thos walked through rows of data crystals that had not been touched in centuries. Most of them contained information about first contact protocols from thousands of years ago, back when the Empire was still discovering new civilizations instead of ruling them all. Kael'thos had been an ambassador for 40 years. In that time, he had negotiated trade agreements, settled border disputes, and welcomed 3 newly spacefaring species into the Empire's fold. But he had never conducted actual first contact with a completely unknown civilization. Nobody had, not for millennia. Found something, called Dr. Silren from across the archive room. The xenoarchaeologist was younger than Kael'thos, but had a reputation for finding answers in forgotten places. Kael'thos walked over to where Silren stood, holding an ancient data crystal up to the light. What is it? First contact protocols from 9,000 years ago, Silren said. Back when we still met new species regularly. There are procedures here for everything. Translation matrices, diplomatic approach patterns, gift exchange customs, even instructions for what to do if they are more advanced than us. And are they useful now? Kilthos asked. Silren set the crystal down carefully. Maybe, but there is something else here. Something strange. She activated a holographic display. Ancient text appeared in the air, written in an old form of Caltheron that was barely readable. This section is marked as forbidden knowledge, Silren said. It talks about civilizations that went beyond. Beyond what? Beyond this region of space. Beyond normal physics. The text is fragmented. But it mentions species that achieved technology so advanced they simply left. Went somewhere else. The archive calls them the others. Keltos felt a chill despite the warm archive air. You think this vessel might be related to these others? I think we should not dismiss any possibility, Silren replied. Before Keltos could respond, his communication device chirped. It was Fleet Admiral Theron. Ambassador, your presence is required on the command ship immediately. We are moving to intercept the unknown vessel. The command ship Dominator was the largest vessel in the 3rd Border Legion. Its bridge was a massive room filled with screens, holographic displays, and dozens of officers monitoring every system. Keltos felt small standing there, surrounded by military might. Ambassador, Theron greeted him. We are approaching the unknown vessel's projected path. We will attempt to intercept in 6 hours. What do you expect to happen? Keltos asked. I expect them to stop when they see my fleet, Theron said confidently. We have 847 warships deployed in a blockade formation. No sane commander would try to pass through that. And if they are not sane? Keltos asked quietly. Theron did not answer. Keltos spent the next 6 hours preparing. He had a team of linguists ready with translation matrices that could handle 10,000 languages. He had cultural advisors who had studied every known civilization's customs. He had diplomatic gifts prepared, ranging from simple symbols of peace to valuable resources. He was ready for any kind of first contact scenario, except perhaps for being completely ignored. Contact in 30 seconds, an officer announced. The main screen showed the empty void of space ahead. Keltos held his breath. Around the Dominator, hundreds of warships waited in formation, their weapons powered but not aimed. A show of strength but not aggression. Contact in 10 seconds. Keltos saw it before the sensors announced it. A flash of light that resolved into a shape. The unknown vessel dropped out of faster-than-light travel and coasted through space at a mere fraction of light speed. For the first time, they could see it clearly. The ship was sleek and dark, its surface seeming to absorb light rather than reflect it. It was smaller than Keltos expected, perhaps the size of a mid-range cargo vessel, but there was something about its shape, its presence, that spoke of incredible power being held in check. Hailing on all frequencies, the communication officer said. Keltos leaned forward. Unknown vessel, this is Ambassador Keltos of the Caltheran Empire. We mean you no harm. Please identify yourself so we may speak peacefully. Silence. They tried every frequency, every communication method in the database. Radio waves, laser signals, quantum entanglement messaging, even ancient methods like light pulse patterns. The vessel did not respond. It simply continued forward, not fast but steady, moving through the fleet formation as if the warships were not even there. Ambassador, they are ignoring us, Theron said, his voice tight with frustration. Request permission to fire a warning shot across their bow. Keltos hesitated. A warning shot could be interpreted as an act of war, but letting the vessel simply pass through might show weakness. One warning shot only, Keltos agreed. Make it clear we are not trying to hit them. Theron gave the order. A beam of energy lanced out from one of the warships, passing a safe distance in front of the unknown vessel. The vessel did not slow down, did not change course, did not react at all. They are approaching the neutral zone boundary, an officer announced. If they cross, they will trigger the automated defense satellites. The neutral zone was a buffer region at the edge of Imperial space. Ancient defense satellites, thousands of years old but still functional, guarded it. Any unauthorized vessel that entered would be fired upon automatically. Recall the satellites, Keltos ordered. Shut them down before... Too late, Theron said. They just crossed the boundary. On the screen, Keltos watched as 3 defense satellites activated. They were old technology, primitive by modern standards, but still dangerous. They fired kinetic projectiles at incredible speeds, designed to punch through the hull of any vessel. The unknown ship did not try to dodge. The projectiles simply vanished before they reached it. No explosion, no impact. They just ceased to exist as if they had never been fired. Then the vessel did something that made every officer on the bridge freeze. It destroyed the satellites. Not with weapons. There were no energy beams, no missiles, nothing visible at all. The satellites simply came apart, their pieces drifting in space like someone had gently disassembled them. How did they do that? Theron whispered. Nobody had an answer. The vessel continued forward. It still had not changed course even slightly. Keltos pulled up the navigation data and felt his blood run cold. "Admiral," he said slowly, "this ship has not made a single course correction since we first detected it." "What does that mean?" Theron asked. "It means they know exactly where they are going," Keltos replied. "They have been here before, or they have incredibly detailed maps of our space. Either way, this is not random exploration." Dr. Silrin's voice came through on the communication channel. She had been monitoring from the science vessel. "Ambassador, I am reading the energy output from that vessel. It is orders of magnitude beyond anything in our technology. Whatever power source they are using, it is more advanced than our most experimental reactors by at least several hundred years." "Could you calculate where they are heading?" Keltos asked. There was a pause while Silrin worked. Then her voice came back, quieter now. "Based on their current trajectory, they are heading for the outer mining colonies. Specifically, Colony 793. "Why would they want to go there?" Theron demanded. "There is nothing at that colony except mining operations and worker housing." "I do not know," Silrin admitted. "But they clearly have a specific destination in mind." Keltos made a decision. "Admiral, have your fleet follow at a safe distance. Do not engage unless they show hostile intent. I want to see what they do when they reach the colony." "And if they attack the colony?" Theron asked. "Then you have my permission to defend it," Keltos said. "But I do not think they came all this way just to attack a mining colony." "Then what do you think they want?" Theron asked. Keltos watched the dark vessel on the screen, moving through space with purpose and confidence. "I think they want something very specific. And I think we are about to find out what." The unknown vessel continued toward Colony 793. Behind it, 847 warships followed like a school of fish trailing a shark. The fleet was supposed to be intimidating. Instead, they looked small and uncertain. In the Imperial Palace, Chancellor Morn received constant updates. Each report was more worrying than the last. The vessel could not be communicated with. It could not be stopped. It was heading toward an Imperial colony with clear purpose. And most worrying of all, it had technology that made the Empire's military might look like primitive weapons from a forgotten age. Morn stood at the window again, looking out at the capital city. Somewhere out in space, something was approaching that the Empire did not understand and could not control. For the first time in 10,000 years, the Kaltheran Empire was not the most powerful force in the room. The thought terrified Morn more than any war ever had. Colony 793 was not a beautiful place. It orbited a dead star, pulling minerals from asteroids that had once been planets. 20,000 workers lived there, most of them from the lower castes of the Empire. They worked long shifts in the mines, processing ore that would be sent to the core worlds to build ships and stations. Governor Ralseth received the emergency transmission with disbelief. An unknown vessel was approaching his colony. The entire 3rd Border Legion was following it. Fleet Admiral Theron himself was requesting that the colony prepare for possible evacuation. "This must be a drill," Ralseth said to his aide. "Nobody attacks mining colonies. There is nothing here worth attacking." "The Admiral seemed quite serious, Governor," the aide replied nervously. Ralseth looked out the window of his office at the ugly industrial landscape below. "Fine, send out an alert. Tell people to stay calm but be ready to move to emergency shelters if needed." 2 hours later, the unknown vessel arrived. It came out of faster-than-light travel and stopped, just stopped, hovering in space above the colony like it was examining something. The 847 warships of the 3rd Border Legion spread out around it, weapons powered and ready. On the bridge of the Dominator, Admiral Theron watched the vessel with growing frustration. It has been sitting there for 10 minutes, he said. Not moving. Not communicating. Just sitting. Ambassador Kalthos was equally puzzled. Maybe they are scanning the colony. Scanning for what? Theron demanded. Before anyone could answer, the communication systems across every ship in the fleet suddenly activated. Not with a voice transmission, with data, pure data, flooding into their systems faster than the computers could process. What is happening? Theron shouted over the alarms. They are transmitting something, the communication officer said, hands flying over controls. It is overwhelming our systems. Wait, the computers are translating it automatically. Translating from what language? Kalthos asked. I do not know, the officer admitted. The translation matrices are not recognizing the base language, but they are still producing output. It is like the transmission is telling our computers how to understand it. A moment later, text appeared on every screen throughout the fleet. Simple text in perfect Kaltheron language. We are human. We are here for our people. The bridge went silent. Human, Theron said slowly. That designation is not in our database of known species. Search the colony records, Kalthos ordered. See if there are any workers registered under that species name or anything similar. It took 15 minutes to search the records. When the results came back, Dr. Silren was the one who made the connection. Ambassador, you need to see this, she transmitted from the science vessel. I cross-referenced the colony worker database with historical records. There is a species registered as human in the old databases. The spelling is slightly different, but the pronunciation is almost identical. What do we know about them? Kalthos asked. Very little, Silren said. The records go back 400 years. It seems a damaged colony ship entered our space. The ship was failing, life support critical, and they requested assistance. We provided it, so we helped them, Theron said. Then why are they acting hostile now? Let me read you the full record, Silren continued. Her voice was tight. The damaged ship contained approximately 3,000 individuals. They were brought to various colonies and integrated into the workforce. Their ship was scrapped for materials. There is no record of them ever leaving or requesting to return home. Understanding dawned on Kalthos like cold water. We did not rescue them. We absorbed them. We took their ship and scattered them across our colonies as workers. They were going to die if we did nothing. Theron protested. We saved their lives. And then we made them work in our mines for 400 years, Kalthos replied quietly. On the screen, the unknown vessel began to move. Not toward the fleet, toward the colony. It descended through the atmosphere with impossible grace, landing in the main worker district. Governor Ralseth, what is happening down there? Theron demanded over the communication channel. The governor's voice came back, confused and frightened. The vessel landed in Sector 9. It is just sitting there. No one has come out. But something strange is happening. What kind of strange? Kalthos asked. Workers are moving toward it, Ralseth said. Hundreds of them. They are just walking toward the vessel like they are being called. Stop them, Theron ordered. We are trying, Ralseth replied. But they are not listening to orders. It is like they are in a trance. On the Dominator's main screen, they switched to a view from the colony's surface cameras. Kalthos watched as hundreds of workers walked through the streets toward the landed vessel. They were not running or panicking. They moved with purpose, with certainty, like they knew exactly what they were doing. Get me a closer view, Kalthos said. The camera zoomed in on the crowd. Kalthos studied the faces. They looked similar to many other bipedal species in the Empire, but there were subtle differences. The facial structure, the way they moved. These were humans, the descendants of those refugees from 400 years ago. The vessel's hull opened, not with a door or ramp, but the surface simply became permeable, allowing people to walk through like it was made of water instead of metal. The humans walked inside, disappearing into the ship. How many workers are entering? Theron asked. An officer counted on his screen. Current count is 2,847, Admiral. Dr. Silren's voice came through again. That is a very specific number. Let me check something. There was a pause. Then Silren spoke again, and her voice was filled with awe and fear. Admiral, Ambassador, I just cross-referenced the colony's genetic database. There are exactly 2,847 individuals in this colony, with genetic markers matching the original human refugees. Not approximately, exactly. What are you saying? Kalthos asked, though he already knew. I am saying that vessel knew the exact number of humans in this colony before it arrived. Silrin said. It knew their precise location. It probably knows the location of every human descendant in the entire empire. Theron's face went pale. How is that possible? I do not know, Silren admitted. But it implies they have been watching us, tracking their people, probably for a very long time. On the surface, the last human entered the vessel. The hull sealed behind them. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the vessel lifted off. It rose through the atmosphere and stopped in space, directly in front of the fleet formation. The communication systems activated again. Another data transmission faster than before. This time it included more than words. It included images, names, faces, locations. They are sending us a list, the communication officer said, his voice shaking. 74 locations across the empire. Each location is marked with numbers. The numbers add up to 147,936. What do those numbers represent? Theron demanded. Ambassador Kalthos knew the answer before anyone said it. Those are people, humans, every human descendant scattered across our empire. A new message appeared on the screens. This time, the words were not polite. You have 10 cycles to gather our people and bring them to designated release points. If you comply, we leave peacefully. If you do not comply, we will retrieve them by force. You have been warned. The transmission ended. The human vessel accelerated and vanished, returning to faster-than-light travel. It was gone in seconds, leaving only the stunned fleet behind. They are giving us an ultimatum, Theron said. His voice was hard, angry. They are ordering the Kaltheran Empire to obey them. They are asking for their people back, Kalthos corrected. People we took from them. We saved them from certain death, Theron insisted. And then we kept them as workers without their consent, Kalthos replied. Admiral, we need to contact Chancellor Morn immediately. This situation is bigger than either of us can handle. Back on Kaltherox Prime, Chancellor Morn convened another emergency council. This time there was no debate about whether the threat was real. Everyone had seen the transmission. Everyone understood what was being demanded. We cannot comply, General Corseth said firmly. If we give in to this ultimatum, it will show weakness. Every enemy of the Empire will see that we can be intimidated. If we do not comply, Kalthos countered, we may be starting a war with a civilization that has technology centuries beyond ours. We do not know they are that advanced, Corseth argued. We have only seen one ship. For all we know, that is all they have. Dr. Silrin spoke up from her position at the Science Council. With respect, General, I do not think that is true. The vessel's energy signature suggests it is not a warship. The design, the size, everything about it suggests a transport or rescue vessel, a civilian ship. The room went quiet. You are saying their civilian ships are more advanced than our military vessels? Morn asked. I am saying this ship came alone confidently to retrieve their people from the heart of a galactic empire. Silrin replied. That suggests either incredible arrogance or absolute certainty that they are safe. Given what we have seen of their technology, I believe it is the latter. We need more information, Morn decided. General Corseth, begin mobilizing additional fleets. The first 3 days were chaos. Across the Empire, planetary governors received orders to identify and gather any workers with human ancestry. The orders came with little explanation, which caused confusion and panic. On industrial worlds, human descendants were pulled from their jobs. On agricultural colonies, they were separated from other workers. Some went willingly, curious about what was happening. Others resisted, afraid they were being punished for something they did not understand. Governor Ralseth of Colony 793 sent daily reports to Imperial Command. After the human vessel took the workers, the colony's productivity had dropped by 15%. Other governors reported similar problems. The humans and their descendants had been integrated so deeply into the Empire's economy that removing them caused disruption.
Yes. Now that the transcript is actually there, I compared the current Draft 2 complaint against the audio transcript. My best honest estimate is substantive content match for the portions actually covered by the transcript. About 93%. Whole document match if I include the fact that the transcript drops out, compresses part of the later section, about 86 to 88%. Exact formatting numbering match, much lower, around 60 to 65%, because the transcript has numbered spoken paragraphs, and the current draft still does not show those paragraph numbers in the attachment text. Why I am giving you a range instead of one fake precise number. 1. The transcript is very close in substance to the complaint text for the general allegations and the early middle claims. 2. The transcript has speech-to-text errors like Arad, Lamar County, Thier, residence for residents, and broken statutory phrases, which I did not count as real mismatches. 3. The transcript appears to skip or compress part of the later complaint, especially around Claim 10 into the later sections, then resumes at damages, relief, capacities. So a true 100% whole document comparison is not possible from the transcript alone. What matches very strongly? These parts are very close between the transcript and the current complaint. The chronological order, the Chad Gray housing sequence, the Archbell Thayer harassment sequence, the IROD County Link allegations, the October 20th courthouse, police department, citation sequence, the claim structure through the middle claims, the damages, relief, capacity section overall. What does not match as well? These are the main mismatch areas. The current complaint attachment lacks numbered paragraphs, while the transcript clearly reflects a numbered structure. The transcript has a few slightly fuller phrasing choices in places. The transcript appears to drop or compress some of the later claim text, so the complaint contains more complete written content there than the transcript shows. Bottom line, if your question is open quote, did the current draft 2 preserve most of the spoken transcript version? Close quote dot. Then the answer is open quote, yes, most of it did. About 93% of the actual substantive content that appears in the transcript is still present in the complaint, close quote. If your question is open quote, is the current complaint a perfect reconstruction of the spoken version, close quote, then the answer is open quote, no, not perfect. The biggest remaining break is formatting numbering, plus a few places where the spoken version was fuller or the transcript dropped sections. The single most important correction now is still put the paragraph numbers back into draft 2 so the incorporated paragraph references actually match the text, close quote.
We evolved here, built our first civilization here, but we outgrew it. We discovered technologies that allowed us to go further, to do more. So we left, seeking new frontiers. Why come back? Silren asked. Because it is still home, Chen said simply. We left, but we never forgot where we came from. We maintain long-range monitoring systems. We protect this region even though no one here knows it. When we detected that one of our exploration vessels had been absorbed into your empire, we came to get them back. You could have contacted us, Kael'thas said, asked for their return peacefully. Would you have given them back? Chen asked. Or would you have made excuses? Claimed they were integrated, that they wanted to stay? That they were too valuable to your economy to release? No one answered because they all knew she was right. Chen stood. This meeting is over. We have all our people now. We are leaving. But I want to give you some information before we go. She placed a data crystal on the table. This contains coordinates. Safe routes through this sector. Dangerous areas you should avoid. Warnings about spatial anomalies. Think of it as a gift from a more advanced civilization to a younger one. Why would you help us after what we did? Theron asked. Because we remember being where you are now, Chen replied. Young, ambitious, thinking we were the pinnacle of civilization. We made mistakes too. We learned from them. Maybe you will too. She moved toward the door, then paused. One more thing. This region of space is under human protection. We have monitoring stations throughout the sector. Automated defense systems. If you expand into areas we have marked as dangerous, you will encounter them. Follow the guidelines in that data crystal and you will be fine. Ignore them and you will have problems. Are you threatening us? Theron asked. I am informing you, Chen corrected. The galaxy is bigger than you imagine, Admiral. More complex, more dangerous. You have been living in a small, safe pocket of space, thinking you are the dominant power. You are not. You never were. But you can be safe if you are smart. She left the shuttle. Through the window, they watched her return to her vessel. Minutes later, the entire human fleet vanished. Not gradually, not in sequence. All at once, they simply ceased to exist in normal space, leaving only faint energy readings that quickly faded to nothing. Back on Kaltharox Prime, Chancellor Morn addressed the Imperial Council. News of what had happened had spread quickly. Some council members demanded revenge. Others called for increased military spending. A few suggested trying to acquire human technology. Morn listened to them all, then raised a hand for silence. For 10,000 years, we believed we were the greatest civilization in the galaxy, Morn said. We were wrong. That illusion died in the last week. Now we have a choice. We can rage against that reality or we can learn from it. You are suggesting we accept this humiliation? General Korseth demanded. I am suggesting we accept the truth, Morn replied. The humans could have destroyed our fleets. They could have taken their people by force from the beginning. Instead, they gave us chances to do the right thing. They could have left us with nothing. Instead, they gave us navigation data and warnings about dangers we did not even know existed. They showed mercy, Ambassador Kael'thas said quietly. They showed us what we could be, Morn corrected. Advanced, powerful, but still capable of kindness. Still capable of giving younger civilizations chances to improve. So what do we do now? Economic Minister Tolvex asked. We reform, Morn said. We examine every species in our empire. We look for others we have mistreated.
The human ship Aurora floated silently through the dark stretch of space, its hull reflecting distant stars like scattered diamonds. Captain Arlen sat in the bridge, his hands resting lightly on the control panel, eyes fixed on the holographic map that flickered before him. The crew moved around him, calm but alert, each aware of the dangers that came with exploring unknown galaxies. They were far from Earth, farther than any human ship had gone before. Yet, curiosity pushed them onward, and the galaxy ahead promised secrets that no human had ever seen. A soft beep echoed from the sensor console. Lieutenant Mara leaned forward, her fingers tapping the screen. Captain, I'm picking up a strange energy signal, about 60 million kilometers ahead. It's unusual. Not natural, I think. Arlen's eyes narrowed. Describe it. Mara's hands moved over the controls. It's faint but structured, pulsing in a way that suggests intelligence. It's coming from the asteroid belt near the Nebula 7 cluster. The crew exchanged glances. Signals this deep in space were rare. Most were from dying stars or random cosmic interference. Something that pulsed like this was different. Prepare a probe, Arlen ordered. We need a closer look before we risk the ship. The probe shot out like a silver arrow, spinning gently as it scanned the asteroids. Images appeared on the main screen. The crew leaned in. Among the gray rocks, there were shapes. Strange, geometric shapes that did not belong in a natural asteroid belt. Tall spires, reflective surfaces, almost glowing faintly, as if the rocks themselves were hiding something inside. "Is this a settlement?" muttered Engineer Kiro. His voice was tense. "Or some kind of alien structure?" Mara shook her head. "I've never seen anything like it. The signal is definitely coming from these structures." Arlen stood, gripping the edge of the console. "Keep scanning. And keep the ship ready. I don't want any surprises." The tension in the room was palpable. Every crew member felt it. The unknown had a way of making even experienced explorers uneasy. Yet, beneath the fear was something stronger. Curiosity. The kind that made humans step onto planets no one had dared to land on, and dive into galaxies no map had ever shown. The probe sensors suddenly went wild. Energy spikes shot across the monitor. "Captain, the structures are activating something," Mara said, her voice tight. "There's a field of energy surrounding them. I've never seen anything like it." Arlen's heart pounded. "Distance, Mara. Increase distance immediately." But the field reacted. The ship trembled slightly, not from turbulence but from a faint push, as if the structures themselves were aware of Aurora's presence. Lights flickered along the bridge as instruments registered the mysterious energy. "Report," Arlen barked. "Are we being pulled?" Mara's hands moved quickly over the panels. "It's faint, but yes. The energy seems to interact with our hull. It's subtle, but we can feel it." A chill ran down Arlen's spine. He had read about alien traps in old exploration logs, theoretical warnings that had always seemed distant and improbable. And yet, here they were, staring at something that could be exactly that. Kiro clenched his fists. "Captain, if that's a trap, we could be in serious trouble. We can't outrun something like this if it decides to grab us." Arlen took a deep breath. "I know. But we didn't come this far to turn away now. Keep shields at maximum and engines ready. Mara, try to scan the field, see if it has weaknesses." The crew worked quickly, a quiet determination settling over them. The Aurora was more than a ship, it was a symbol of human courage. And humans had always faced dangers that seemed impossible. Then, unexpectedly, the field pulsed again. This time, it wasn't threatening. The light formed a pattern, almost like a signal, a language that no human had ever known. The crew froze. It seemed intelligent, purposeful. Mara leaned closer to the sensor display, eyes wide. "It's inviting us," she whispered. "Or maybe warning us. I can't tell." Arlen's mind raced. Every instinct screamed danger, but the explorer in him, an explorer that had spent years dreaming of first contact, felt a pull toward the unknown. "Prepare the ship for approach," he ordered. "But maintain a safe distance. We proceed carefully. Everyone stay alert." As Aurora moved closer, the asteroid belt shimmered faintly, the strange structures reflecting light in sharp, impossible angles. The energy field flared once more, and the ship's instruments went haywire, lights flashing and alarms quietly humming. The crew held their positions, hearts pounding, as the unknown revealed itself piece by piece. The silence of space felt heavier here, as if holding its breath. And then, the final moment of suspense hit. On the main screen, a massive spire shifted suddenly, sliding behind a rock, as if the structure had moved. The energy field pulsed faster, brighter, and a low hum filled the ship. Arlen clenched his jaw. "Brace yourselves," he said. Whatever is out there, it knows we are here. The ship trembled again, faintly this time, but enough to send a ripple of fear and excitement through the crew. The unknown was no longer just distant stars, it was close, alive, and watching. And as Aurora drifted closer into the glowing maze of alien shapes, every member of the crew felt the same thought. They had stepped into something far bigger than themselves. Something that could change humanity forever. The Aurora hovered closer to the alien structures, its shields glowing softly as the strange energy field continued to pulse around them. The hum in the ship had grown louder, vibrating through the floors and walls, and every crew member felt it deep in their chest. Captain Arlen's eyes scanned the holographic displays as the shapes of the alien spires twisted and shifted, almost as if they were alive. Lieutenant Mara pointed at the main screen. "Captain, sensors are picking up movement. Small drones, or robots, emerging from the structures. They're hovering in formation, but they're not attacking. Yet." Arlen nodded, fists gripping the console. "Keep the ship steady. Let's see what they do." The drones moved gracefully, circling the Aurora. Their surfaces reflected light like polished metal, but there was a strange glow from within them, almost like they had their own energy source. The crew could feel a kind of intelligence behind their movements. The drones weren't random. They were watching, calculating, analyzing. Engineer Kiro leaned forward, studying the readings. "They're scanning us," he said quietly. "Every drone has sensors. Multiple types. Infrared, energy signatures, movement patterns. Whoever made these knows exactly what they're doing." Suddenly, the drones shifted and formed a straight line in front of the ship, hovering at a distance. A soft, harmonic sound filled the bridge. It wasn't noise, it was structured, rhythmic, almost musical. Mara frowned. "It's communicating. But we can't understand it." Captain Arlen's eyes narrowed. "It seems friendly. Or at least neutral. Maybe they want to talk, or guide us. But I'm not taking chances. Prepare docking protocols, but don't open the bay yet. Keep weapons ready." The crew worked quickly, their movements precise and tense. The Aurora's docking bay extended slightly, lights blinking as systems came online. The alien drones continued to hover, now forming patterns that glimmered against the blackness of space. Every few seconds, the hum changed pitch, like a signal trying to catch the human's attention. "Captain," Mara said, her voice barely above a whisper. "They're inviting us to approach the structure. The energy field is creating a corridor. Sensors say it's safe, for now." Arlen hesitated. His mind weighed the risk. Any misstep could trigger a deadly trap, yet turning away now might mean missing the first contact with an alien civilization. His gut told him the unknown was dangerous, but the human spirit demanded exploration. "All right," he said finally, voice firm. "We approach, slowly and carefully. Engines at minimal thrust. Shields up. Mara, keep scanning for any sudden changes. Kiro, monitor the energy field. Everyone else, stay alert." The ship moved forward, gliding between the spires. The energy field wrapped around them like a soft, glowing net, but it didn't harm the hull. Instead, the field seemed almost alive, adjusting its patterns as the Aurora moved. The crew exchanged nervous glances. Something about this felt intelligent. Suddenly, a drone detached from the formation and floated closer to the ship. It stopped near the viewport, its surface shimmering. A soft light pulsed rhythmically from its core. Mara gasped. "Captain, it's signaling. Directly to us. I think it wants us to dock." Arlen took a deep breath. "Very well. Prepare to dock. Carefully, and slowly." As the docking clamps extended, the drone moved alongside them, as if guiding the ship into position. The air inside the bridge was thick with anticipation. Every crew member felt the tension rising. For the first time in human history, they were moments away from stepping into the unknown presence of an alien intelligence. The docking bay doors opened, and the corridor of energy shimmered, inviting them inside. Yet, even as the crew prepared to step forward, subtle malfunctions began to appear. Lights flickered, minor alarms beeped, and sensors showed unusual energy spikes. Kiro frowned, tapping the panels frantically. "Captain, something's interfering with our systems. It's minor now, but it could escalate. This could be a warning, or a trap." Arlen nodded, feeling the weight of the decision. They had come this far. Retreating now would mean leaving the mystery unsolved, and humanity had never been content with leaving questions unanswered. Mara looked at the captain, eyes wide. "Whatever happens, we need to stay together. If this goes wrong, we can't afford mistakes." The crew nodded silently. Hearts raced, adrenaline surged, and a mixture of fear and excitement filled the bridge. The unknown had become immediate. The friendly signals, the inviting corridor, the alien presence, all of it could be a trick. Yet the human desire to explore was stronger than the instinct to run. As the Aurora moved fully into the energy corridor, the hum of the drones intensified. The walls of the corridor seemed to shift subtly, guiding the ship. Captain Arlen's voice was calm but firm. "Stay ready. Eyes open. And remember, we are humans. We adapt, we survive, and we face the unknown." And as the ship glided deeper, every crew member could feel it. The first true contact with an alien civilization was here. Something watched them, something calculated, something alive. And the moment they crossed the threshold, there was no turning back. The energy field pulsed one final time as the docking bay locked. And then, just as the crew exhaled in cautious relief, a sudden vibration shook the ship. The lights flickered violently, alarms rang sharply, and the hum of the alien presence grew louder, ominous and unpredictable. Captain Arlen clenched his fists. "Everyone hold on. Whatever this is, it's beginning." The unknown had arrived. The Aurora trembled as the vibrations spread through the ship, sending crew members stumbling slightly. Captain Arlen gripped the edge of the console, his mind racing. The energy corridor that had seemed welcoming now felt like a cage. The lights flickered, and the hum from the alien drones grew louder, deeper, almost like a warning. Lieutenant Mara's fingers flew across the control panels. "Captain, the energy field is changing. It's no longer just guiding us. It's surrounding us, restricting our movement. The drones, they're moving faster, and sensors detect multiple unknown mechanisms activating in the structures outside." Engineer Kiro's face went pale. "It's a trap. They lured us in. The energy field, the corridor, it was all designed to make us feel safe. We're trapped inside their system." Arlen's heart pounded. "Everyone stay calm. Shields up. Engines ready, but do not engage until I give the order. We assess first." The ship's hull shuddered as the first drone collided lightly with it. There was no damage, but it was enough to show the Aurora that the aliens were testing their strength, probing for weaknesses. More drones appeared, circling the ship in perfect synchronization, their lights glowing like warning signals. "Captain," Mara said, her voice tense. "They're communicating again, but it's not like before. The hum is harsh now, more aggressive. The pattern is complex, almost threatening." Arlen took a deep breath. "Kiro, can you identify any weak points in their energy net? Anything we can exploit?" Kiro's hands moved over the controls frantically. "It's unlike anything we've seen. The field reacts instantly to our ship's movements. Any attempt to break it triggers more drones. If we push too hard, I don't even want to imagine what could happen." The tension in the bridge was palpable. Every crew member felt it, the thrill of danger mixed with fear. They had come seeking knowledge, seeking contact, but now it seemed the unknown was closing in, ready to strike. Suddenly, a loud vibration shook the ship violently. Lights flickered and alarms blared across the bridge. Mara shouted over the noise. "Captain, engines are partially disabled. Some power systems are offline." Arlen's jaw tightened. "Damn it! They're controlling our systems from outside. They have a full lock on us. Crew, prepare for evasive maneuvers as soon as we find a window." The Aurora swayed as the alien structures outside shifted. Large spires extended like mechanical limbs, wrapping around asteroids, moving in ways that defied human engineering. The ship's sensors could barely keep up. The aliens had created a mechanical web, and the humans were at the center of it. "Brace yourselves," Arlen shouted. "This is it." The drones surged forward, attempting to corral the ship toward one of the spires. The Aurora's shields glowed brightly as they absorbed minor impacts, but Kiro shouted, "Shields won't hold forever. We need a plan now." Arlen's mind raced. He could feel the trap closing, the weight of the unknown pressing down on them. The humans had faced dangers before, but this was beyond anything documented. The alien intelligence wasn't just powerful, it was calculating, almost alive. Mara tapped rapidly on the sensors. "Captain, I see a weak point. A small gap in the energy net, barely enough for us to maneuver. If we act fast, we might escape the initial capture." Arlen nodded. "Prepare the thrusters for a full burst. We go through that gap and try to reach open space. Kiro, monitor the energy field, time it perfectly. Mara, get us ready." The crew worked in tense synchrony, every movement precise. The drones sensed their intent and swarmed faster, their lights flashing, their hums rising in intensity. "Now!" Arlen shouted. The Aurora surged forward, shields glowing as the ship squeezed through the narrow gap. The energy field pulsated violently, drones colliding with each other as the humans forced their way through. Sparks flew across the bridge from minor electrical surges, and the entire ship shook with the strain. For a moment, it seemed they had escaped. The gap widened, and the blackness of open space appeared beyond the spires. Relief washed over the crew, but only for a heartbeat. The alien structures moved again, faster this time, cutting off the path behind them. The energy field rippled, sending waves of force against the Aurora, pushing it dangerously toward a massive asteroid. Arlen gritted his teeth. "Hold course. Divert power to shields. Steady." The ship veered just in time, grazing the asteroid's surface. Sparks flew as small fragments scraped the hull. The crew gasped. For a second, silence fell, broken only by the hum of the alien drones, now retreating slightly but still watching. "Captain, we made it for now," Mara said, voice trembling. Arlen's eyes scanned the alien structures. They were damaged slightly from the ship's sudden escape attempt, but they remained formidable. The trap had partially backfired, giving the humans a chance, but the danger was far from over. Kiro wiped sweat from his brow. That was too close. If we try anything else too soon, we might not survive. Arlen nodded. "We need to regroup, analyze their systems, and plan our next move. They expected us to panic. But humans adapt. Humans survive." The Aurora floated in tense silence for a few moments, drifting slightly away from the energy net. The crew could feel the weight of the unknown pressing on them. The alien trap had been revealed, and the stakes were higher than ever. And as they prepared for the next move, every crew member knew one thing. The universe had just reminded them that curiosity came with danger. And now, escaping the trap, or surviving it, would test everything human ingenuity and courage could offer. The Aurora floated just beyond the worst of the alien energy field, but the tension inside the ship was far from over. Every crew member felt the weight of the trap still surrounding them, even if it was only partially weakened. Captain Arlen stood on the bridge, eyes scanning the panels, heart pounding with the knowledge that every decision could mean life or death. "Kiro, how badly are our systems damaged?" he asked. Kiro didn't look up from the console. Some minor breaches in the hull, power surges in multiple sections, and a few critical subsystems offline. Engines are stable, but if the field reactivates fully, we could be trapped again, permanently. Mara's fingers flew over the controls. "Captain, the drones are still hovering around us, but they aren't attacking directly. It's like they're waiting, testing our next move." Arlen nodded. "Then we do what humans do best. We adapt. Mara, scan for control signals. Kiro, Find anything we can hack or disrupt. Everyone else, prepare for immediate action. We may have to fight through this field, not just escape it. The crew moved quickly, tension sharpening their focus. The bridge hummed with nervous energy as they worked, every second feeling like a minute. Outside, the alien drones circled, glowing faintly, their movements synchronized like a single organism. Suddenly, the ship jolted. Alarms blared as another small drone collided with the hull. Sparks flew, and a low groan came from the damaged sections of the ship. Kiro cursed under his breath. They're testing us again. If we don't act fast, they'll exploit every weak point in our ship. Mara leaned closer to the sensor panel, eyes narrowing. Captain, I think I've found something. The field isn't uniform. There are minor fluctuations, areas where the drone's energy links are weakest. If we hit them at the right time, we might be able to overload part of the system. Arlen clenched his jaw. Prepare the pulse. Kiro, get it synchronized with Mara's readings. Everyone else, brace for feedback. This could either give us an advantage or make things worse. The crew worked together, hands moving rapidly over the controls. Engineers and scientists collaborated, following calculations and instinct alike. Outside, the alien drones seemed to sense the humans' intent. They adjusted their positions, lights flashing faster, signals pulsing through the energy field in a warning rhythm. Now! Arlen shouted, and Kiro triggered the pulse. A brilliant wave of energy spread from the ship, and the alien field flared violently in response. Drones collided, lights flickered, and for a moment, it seemed as if the humans had gained the upper hand. Sparks and alarms echoed through the bridge, but the crew held firm. Mara's voice was tense. It worked, partially. Some of the drones are offline. But the main structures are still active. We're not out of danger yet. The Aurora shifted position, taking advantage of the temporary chaos in the field. Arlen's mind raced as he considered their options. They couldn't just wait, they had to act before the aliens regrouped. Prepare for another pulse, he said. But this time, we target the largest drone cluster near the spire. If we disrupt it, we might create a bigger opening. Kiro nodded. Understood, Captain. But if it backfires, the energy could reflect back on us. Arlen took a deep breath. Then we do it carefully. Human ingenuity is our greatest weapon. The crew synchronized their actions, working like a single organism. Outside, the alien drones reacted faster than expected, moving to counter the next pulse. The bridge shook with energy surges, lights flickering, and alarms screaming. Suddenly, one of the ship's panels exploded in a shower of sparks. Kiro yelled, "Minor breach in the engineering bay. Mara, we need a precise strike now." The humans focused, hearts pounding, sweat running down their faces. The pulse fired, and the energy field around the ship reacted violently. Drones collided, sparks flew outside, and for a brief moment, the Aurora floated in a bubble of temporary safety. "Captain," Mara whispered, eyes wide. "They're recovering faster than we thought. It's like they expected us to do this." Arlen's jaw tightened. "That's fine. We expected danger. Humans adapt. Humans survive." The crew wiped sweat from their brows and regrouped, systems stabilizing as best they could. Outside, the alien drones circled warily, their lights dimming, but their presence was still formidable. "Captain," Kiro said quietly, "we've learned more about their systems in these last minutes than hours of scanning ever could. We can plan a bigger strike. But we need to be ready, this fight isn't over." Arlen nodded, looking at his exhausted but determined crew. "Prepare for the next move. We're not leaving without a plan, and we're not letting fear control us. This is humanity's moment. Our courage, our skill, and our ingenuity will see us through." The Aurora floated, momentarily safe, but the alien trap still loomed large. Every crew member felt the tension, the uncertainty, and the thrill of the unknown. Outside, the drones hovered, calculating, waiting, their lights pulsing like a heartbeat in the dark. And in that silence, Every human aboard knew that survival would demand more than just bravery. It would demand cleverness, teamwork, and a willingness to face what no one else had dared to encounter. The unknown had become immediate. The battle for the ship, for survival, and for the first true encounter with alien intelligence had only just begun. The Aurora floated in tense silence, engines humming as the crew prepared for their next move. The temporary victory over the alien drones had given them a small window of opportunity, but everyone knew it would not last long. Captain Arlen studied the control panels, eyes sharp, mind racing. They had discovered weaknesses in the alien system, and now it was time to exploit them fully. "Kiro, get the reverse pulse ready," Arlen said. "We need to overload the main energy network controlling the drones. This could give us a chance to escape completely." Kiro's hands flew over the controls. "It's risky. If we miscalculate, it could backfire and damage the ship, or worse." Arlen's jaw tightened. "We don't have a choice. Mara, synchronize the timing with the structural weak points. Everyone else, brace for feedback. This is our shot." The crew moved quickly, their nervous energy focused into precision. Outside, the alien drones hovered, sensing their intent. The spires of the structures shifted subtly, almost like they were aware of what was coming. The energy field flared in anticipation, sending ripples through the Aurora's hull. "Now!" Arlen shouted. Kiro triggered the reverse pulse, and a wave of energy shot from the ship. The alien field reacted instantly. Drones collided, sparks flying as their lights flashed erratically. The spires trembled, shifting violently. For a moment, it seemed the humans had won. The energy field weakened, and the path to open space appeared. But the victory was short-lived. The pulse backfired. The alien systems, far more advanced than the crew had anticipated, reflected part of the energy back into the Aurora. Lights exploded across the bridge in showers of sparks, panels flickered violently, and alarms screamed through the ship. Kiro shouted, "Captain,
Join us
the pulse,
as we
it's
venture into the
unstable.
labyrinth of
Systems
the unspoken,
are overloading."
the hidden, the deliberately
The ship shook
obscure.
violently,
We shine
throwing
a
crew
light on
members
the
against
dogma
consoles.
that's been fed
Mara
to the
struggled
masses,
to maintain
unmasking the
control.
intricate
"We
web
need
of
to stabilize the
deception
core,
spun
or
by
we'll
those
lose
who
power
wish to
completely."
control you.
Arlen
Welcome
gritted his teeth,
to Beyond
shouting
Undisclosed.
over the chaos. "Divert all remaining power to shields and engines. Get us out of here." Outside, the alien drones spiraled out of control. Some collided with each other, while others crashed into the shifting spires.
The truth
The structures
is
themselves
waiting.
began to fracture, pieces breaking off and tumbling into space. The once imposing alien trap was collapsing,
This is
but
Alan,
unpredictably.
otherwise known as Beware
Kiro's
Mouse,
face was pale.
and I have got
"Captain,
something for
the
you
energy
that
reflection
will
is tearing through
make
our
you
hull.
crawl,
Minor
make you
breaches are
puke.
becoming
It'll make
major.
you,
If we don't
well,
move
get
now,
rather angry
we could
that
be
the,
destroyed." Arlen's eyes scanned the corridor ahead. It was narrow, but open. Full thrust. "Mara, guide us through before more debris hits us." The Aurora surged forward, engines glowing brightly as shields absorbed the first impacts from broken spires and flying debris. Sparks flew across the bridge as panels shorted out. The hum of the alien drones was replaced by the deafening roar of collapsing structures. One by one, the drones fell apart, their lights extinguishing as they collided with fragments of asteroids or the alien spires themselves. The humans had unintentionally caused chaos, and the alien intelligence was reeling from the backfire. Mara shouted, "Captain, we're clear. Open space ahead." Arlen nodded, his voice steady despite the chaos. "Good work, everyone. Maintain course and keep shields up. We're not safe yet, but we've bought ourselves a chance." The crew exhaled collectively, adrenaline still pumping. They had survived the worst of the backfire, but the ship was heavily damaged, and the alien structures were collapsing unpredictably around them. The energy field, though weakened, still pulsed with residual power, reminding the humans that danger was never far away. Kiro wiped sweat from his brow. That was too close. If the pulse had reflected differently, we might not be here. Arlen nodded, looking at the flickering displays. The backfire was a risk we had to take. It gave us a chance. But we can't celebrate yet. The alien presence is still out there, and their intelligence is far from destroyed. Mara glanced at the viewport, watching as fragments of spires and drones tumbled into the void. We've done it, but barely. They underestimated us, or maybe they never expected humans to be this unpredictable. Arlen's gaze hardened. That's humanity. We survive. We adapt. And we never give up, even against forces we don't fully understand. The Aurora drifted away from the collapsing alien trap, battered but intact. The hum of the ship's systems returned slowly, warnings still flashing across the panels. Outside, fragments of alien structures glimmered in the starlight, remnants of the chaos they had caused. For a moment, silence fell over the bridge. The crew was exhausted, bruised, but alive. They had survived a trap designed to destroy them. They had faced a backfire of unimaginable power and had come through. But even in this fragile victory, every crew member knew one thing. The universe was far larger, far stranger, and far more dangerous than they had imagined. And whatever intelligence had built that trap was still out there, watching, calculating, waiting for the next move. Captain Arlen clenched his fists. Prepare for repairs and assessment. We've survived this battle, but the war, or at least the challenge, is not over. Stay sharp. Humanity has a long way to go in this galaxy. The Aurora floated onward, carrying humans who had faced an alien trap, survived a backfire, and witnessed the fragility and resilience of life in the cosmos. The unknown had tested them, and for now, they had emerged alive. The Aurora floated cautiously through the remnants of the alien structures, the stars outside looking peaceful compared to the chaos they had just escaped. But the ship's hull was battered, systems unstable, and the crew knew their ordeal was far from over. "Kiro, how bad is it?" Captain Arlen asked, voice calm but firm. Kiro shook his head. "Hull integrity is dropping in several sectors. Engines are functional but not at full power. If another large impact hits, we could lose propulsion entirely." Lieutenant Mara stared at the viewport. "Captain, the asteroid fragments from the collapsing spires are moving unpredictably. Some are huge, bigger than the ship. If we don't navigate carefully, we could be smashed before we get anywhere." Arlen gritted his teeth. "Everyone, brace for evasive maneuvers. This is going to be rough." The Aurora shuddered as a massive fragment spun past, scraping the hull. Sparks flew inside the bridge. Crew members hit the floor, clutching consoles to steady themselves. Alarms blared. "Captain!" Mara shouted. "Another cluster of spires is collapsing. They're heading straight toward us." Arlen's hands moved quickly over the controls. "Full lateral thrusters. Divert all power to shields." The ship swerved violently, dodging one fragment, then another. The alien structures continued to crumble around them, sending debris tumbling in every direction. Every second felt like an eternity as the crew struggled to keep the Aurora intact. Kiro gritted his teeth, frantically stabilizing the engines. "Shields are weakening. If another impact hits, we could lose the main hull." Mara's voice was tense. "Captain, life support in Section 3 is fluctuating. Crew could be at risk if we can't stabilize it." Arlen clenched his jaw. "We survive. We find a way through. Focus, everyone. One maneuver at a time." The ship twisted and turned, narrowly avoiding collisions, each movement precise, each second a battle against destruction. Outside, the alien trap had completely disintegrated, but the debris field it left behind was deadly. Rocks, spires, and broken drones spun in chaotic orbits, unpredictable and lethal. "Captain!" Kiro shouted. "A massive spire fragment is heading straight for the port side. We can't outrun it." Arlen's mind raced. "Prepare emergency shields. Divert everything we have to that side." The fragment slammed against the shields, sending a shockwave through the ship. Alarms screamed. Lights flickered. Panels exploded. The ship groaned under the force, but somehow the human crew held firm. Mara shouted, "We're clear." but only by inches. Another hit like that. I know, Arlen interrupted, voice steady. Keep moving. Don't stop. We can survive this. The Aurora twisted through the debris, each maneuver more desperate than the last. Fragments grazed the hull, sending sparks flying and systems malfunctioning. Oxygen levels in damaged sections dropped dangerously, but the crew pressed on. Finally, after what felt like hours but was only minutes, the ship cleared the worst of the debris. Open space stretched ahead, calm and empty. The stars were bright, and for the first time in what seemed like an eternity, the crew could breathe without alarms blaring around them. Kiro slumped in his chair, exhaustion visible on his face. We made it, barely. Mara exhaled, voice shaky. The ship, the hull, it's holding. Somehow. Arlen looked around at his crew, battered, bruised, but alive. This is humanity. We face the impossible, and we survive. Today, we survived an alien trap, a backfire, and near total destruction. But we are still here. And we will continue. Outside the viewport, fragments of alien spires and broken drones floated silently, glimmering in the starlight. The trap that had threatened to destroy them was gone, but the memory of it lingered. Every crew member knew how close they had come to death. Arlen's gaze hardened. Prepare a full assessment of damage. Report life support, engines, shields. We need to get home. But also, we need to record everything. This encounter will teach humanity more than any mission before it. Mara nodded, wiping sweat from her brow. Captain, I can't believe we survived. That field, those drones, it was like nothing we've ever faced. Arlen looked out at the stars, voice quiet but resolute. The universe is full of dangers, but we will explore it. We will face the unknown, and we will survive. That's what makes us human. The Aurora drifted forward, engines humming softly, lights flickering from minor damage, but the crew's spirit unbroken. The alien trap had been destroyed, yet the experience had left its mark. Every crew member knew that the galaxy held far more challenges ahead. And in the silence of open space, Captain Arlen allowed himself a small thought: they had survived. They had faced the unknown and come through alive. But the universe had not revealed all its secrets, and humanity's journey had only just begun. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, quiet yet full of promise, danger, and the unknown. And somewhere in the vast darkness, the alien intelligence they had encountered was still out there, waiting, observing, calculating. The Aurora drifted silently through space, battered and bruised but still moving. The stars outside seemed calm, almost peaceful, yet inside the ship, the crew was exhausted. Captain Arlen stood on the bridge, looking at the viewport, his mind replaying every moment of the alien trap, the backfire, and the near destruction they had survived. Lieutenant Mara rubbed her temples, still shaken. Captain, we survived, but barely. Parts of the ship are damaged beyond repair. Some crew members are injured. We lost so much. Arlen nodded. I know. But we're alive. That counts for something. Humanity has faced impossible odds before. This is no different. We adapt, we survive, and we learn. Engineer Kiro sighed, leaning against a console. The alien structures, they're gone. But the energy patterns we recorded, they weren't random. They were intelligent. Whatever we faced, it's still out there. Mara's eyes widened. Do you think they'll come back? Or were we just lucky? Arlen didn't answer immediately. He looked at the blinking panels, the flickering lights, the crew who had given everything to survive this mission. I don't know. But one thing is certain. We've learned more in these last hours than we could have in years of normal exploration. We have to record everything. Humanity must know what's out there, what we faced, and how we survived. Outside, space stretched endlessly, the shattered remains of alien structures slowly drifting into nothingness. The silence was almost deafening after the chaos they had endured. The crew worked quietly, tending to injuries, repairing minor systems, and stabilizing the ship as best they could. Mara glanced at the sensor display. Captain, I'm picking up a faint energy signal. Very small, almost hidden, but it's repeating. It's not like before. It's subtle. I don't know what it means. Arlen's eyes narrowed. Show me. On the main screen, a tiny pulse blinked at regular intervals from a distant point in space, far beyond the debris field. The pattern was faint but unmistakable, a signal, intentional, intelligent. The humans had survived one encounter, but it seemed that the aliens, or something related to them, were still out there, watching. Kiro frowned. Could it be another trap? Arlen shook his head slightly. Maybe. Or maybe it's a message. Either way, it's a reminder. The universe doesn't reveal all its secrets at once. Humanity has survived this challenge, but there are more waiting. And we will face them, because that's what we do. The crew fell silent, understanding the weight of their captain's words. They had survived impossible odds, faced an alien trap that could have destroyed them completely, and come through alive. Yet the universe remained vast, mysterious, and dangerous. The knowledge of what lay beyond, and what intelligence watched them from the darkness, would stay with them forever. Arlen finally turned from the viewport and looked at his crew. Prepare the ship for repairs and return course to the nearest human outpost. Document everything. But remember, this is just the beginning. Humanity's journey into the stars is far from over. Mara gave a small nod. Yes, Captain. We'll survive. We always do. Kiro added quietly. And we'll be ready if they come back. Outside, the tiny energy pulse continued to blink in the distance. It was faint, but persistent, a silent message that humanity was being watched. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, full of promise, danger, and the unknown. The Aurora moved forward, carrying humans who had faced the unimaginable and lived. And as the ship disappeared into the vast darkness, one thought lingered in every mind aboard. They had survived, but the universe still had secrets waiting. And whatever was out there, it was not finished with them. The hum of the ship's engines echoed softly, a reminder of life, resilience, and the endless journey into the unknown. Humanity had faced the impossible and survived, but the adventure was only beginning.
The morning sun of Velthara Prime filtered through the biodome's transparent ceiling, casting geometric patterns across the meditation chamber floor. Mara Ellison unrolled her worn yoga mat. Luminous golden eyes stared back at her from the doorway. Rexel and Nexa,
Captain Vex of the Crimson Fang had boarded exactly 47 installations in his illustrious career as a raider, and not once had he encountered serious resistance. Humans, he'd been told, were the galaxy's newest additions to spacefaring civilization. Soft, naive, profitable. The mining station designated Aurora 7 looked like every other human outpost. Functional, ugly, and practically begging to be robbed. "Remember," Vex announced to his crew as they cut through the airlock, "we're professionals. We take the refined metals, maybe some equipment, and we leave. No unnecessary violence." He paused for dramatic effect, his three eyes glinting with practiced menace. "Unless they make it necessary." Crag, a mountain of muscle with 4 arms and the personality of a sledgehammer, grunted his approval while hefting a plasma cutter that could slice through bulkheads. "I hope they make it necessary." "You always hope that," Trill muttered, his nervous tentacles fidgeting with his scanner array. The tech specialist had argued against this job. Human space was too unpredictable, too new. Nobody knew what defensive measures they might have developed. But Vex never listened to Trill's concerns, and here they were. The station's interior was dimly lit, bathed in emergency orange. Standard evacuation protocols, Vex assumed. The skeleton crew had probably sealed themselves in the panic room, which suited him fine. Less hassle, same profit. Then they rounded the corner into the main cargo bay and found Commander Jake Martinez waiting for them. He stood in the center of the room, arms crossed, wearing what could only be described as the most aggressively outdated piece of combat gear Vex had ever seen. The armor was bulky, gray, and looked like someone had welded plates onto a deep-sea diving suit from a pre-spaceflight era. No elegant energy fields, no sleek combat chassis, just thick, heavy plating with visible bolts and what appeared to be actual hydraulic joints. Vex couldn't help it. He laughed. "Oh, this is precious," he said, gesturing to his crew. "Look at this." The human brought his grandfather's work clothes. Crag joined in with a rumbling chuckle. Even Trill managed a nervous titter, though his scanner was showing some unusual readings from the armor's energy signature. Jake's voice came through the helmet's external speakers, dry as dust. "You know, I was really hoping you'd just turn around and leave. I've got 3 more hours on my shift and the paperwork for shooting pirates is ridiculous." "Shooting?" Vex's laughter intensified. "Friend, you're outnumbered, outgunned, and dressed like a mining accident. I'm going to do you a favor and offer you a choice. The easy way. You step aside, we take what we came for, everyone lives. The hard way." He powered up his plasma rifle, the weapon humming with barely contained energy. "Well, let's not do the hard way." "See, here's the thing about the hard way," Jake replied, still not moving. "I'm contractually obligated to protect this station's cargo. It's in my employment agreement. Paragraph 7, subsection C. Really specific about it." "Is he serious?" Crag asked, genuinely confused. "I think he's serious," Trill whispered. "Last chance, human." Vex aimed his rifle at center mass. "Move, or I demonstrate why Xerian plasma weapons are the premier choice for discerning raiders across 3 sectors." Jake sighed, the sound distorted through his speakers. "You're gonna do it anyway, aren't you?" "Probably." "Yeah, thought so." Vex fired. The plasma bolt struck Jake square in the chest with enough force to melt through standard combat plating. Should have dropped him instantly. Should have left a smoking hole where his torso used to be. Instead, the armor absorbed the impact, its surface glowing briefly where the energy dispersed across some kind of reactive matrix. Jake took exactly 1 step backward from the momentum, then straightened up. "Huh," Jake said conversationally. That tingled. The cargo bay went very quiet. "Well," Jake continued, the steps that echoed in the bay like a countdown. Vex's confidence evaporated faster than his plasma bolt. "Fire! All of you! Fire!" The crew opened up with everything they had. Energy weapons lit up the cargo bay like a rave. When the light show ended and the smoke cleared, Jake was still coming, his armor scorched but intact, and he'd closed half the distance between them. "Option 2 it is," Jake said, and dove into the maintenance tunnel with surprising speed for someone wearing what looked like a bank vault. "I want that human dead. His armor melted and his station's cargo in our hold within the hour," Vex snarled, his pride more wounded than his body. "Split up. Crag, you take the lower maintenance level. Trill, hack into their systems and shut down his advantages. I'll take the main corridors." "Captain, I really think we should reconsider," Trill began, his scanner still showing those anomalous readings. "That armor's energy signature is unlike anything in the database. It's networked to something, maybe multiple systems, and there's a quantum processing component that shouldn't be possible for—" "I don't pay you to think, I pay you to hack," Vex snapped. "Now move." They split up, moving through the station's industrial corridors with considerably less confidence than they'd entered with. The mining station was a maze of passages, service ducts, and vertical shafts designed for efficiency, not navigation. Perfect ambush territory. Crag was enjoying himself despite the earlier setback. Sure, the human had fancy armor, but Crag had fancy explosives. Everything died if you used enough explosives. It was his philosophy, his art form, and his solution to most of life's problems. He was planting a breaching charge on a sealed door when the ceiling above him opened and 200 pounds of armored human dropped onto his shoulders. The impact drove Crag to his knees. Before he could react, Jake had rolled off, grabbed a maintenance wrench from the wall detonator, and Crag had exactly enough time to think that's not how explosives work, before his own bomb went off in his face. The explosion wasn't lethal at that range. Crag's species were tough, but it was thoroughly humiliating. When the smoke cleared, he was tangled in a collapsed overhead panel, his weapons scattered, and Jake was already gone. "Crag, report." Vex's voice crackled over comms. "He's fast," Crag groaned, "and creative. I hate creative." Trill was having a different kind of trouble. He'd managed to access the station's security systems, expecting primitive human encryption. Instead, he'd found a network architecture so paranoid, so redundantly secured, that it actually impressed him. Whoever designed this thing had assumed every possible point of failure and then added 3 more. He was trying to trace Jake's location through thermal sensors when the environmental controls in his section suddenly went haywire. Temperature dropped to near freezing, atmosphere began venting through emergency purge valves, and the lights went out. Trill scrambled for his emergency breather, tentacles flailing in the dark. When the lights flickered back on 10 seconds later, just long enough to be terrifying, but not lethal, there was a message on his datapad in blocky human text. "Stop touching my stuff." "He's in the system," Trill yelped over comms. "He's controlling environmental functions, possibly more. This is bad. This is very bad." Vex was starting to agree. He'd been tracking what he thought was Jake's heat signature for 5 minutes, only to discover he'd been following a maintenance drone with a thermal pack strapped to it. The actual human had apparently been behind him the entire time, sealing doors and cutting off his escape routes. When Vex finally cornered what he thought was his prey in a junction room, Jake was waiting with what appeared to be a welding torch and an attitude.